Every Saturday at the zoo, live wire Derrida, one episode at a time. Season 1 is Ghost.
Absolutely intense, virtuosic, wide-ranging account of metaphysics and the beginning of metaphysics in relation to what came before it that I think this is what this guy was born to do. So we have to spend a few seconds talking through it and try to go slowly on it because it's just, at least, it's just incredible. So we started with this, what is the impossibility of any truth? So if we say, okay, you can't have this absolute presence stuff, writing is going to screw that up. But what are we even saying when we say that, right? What are we saying? Because the reason why we have to ask that is because deconstruction can't remain at the level in relation to presence of saying, well, absolute presence isn't true. If we have argued true false is a presence thing anyway, so you just say absolute presence isn't true, it's not present. That doesn't disrupt, or it's not just that it doesn't disrupt the structure, it's that you literally don't know what you're saying if you're saying that, right? Because if you say absolute presence, well, Plato's wrong, there's no absolute presence. You have confirmed the Father. You do not know what you're saying, no matter what you think you're saying, right? So this is kind of what he's developing here. So since such truth would be death in the absolute form of blindness, right? Because if the truth of there is no way to have this truth or whatever is the truth of we are the blind people in the cave, we are stuck in the cave in Plato's cave. We are stuck in blindness. If that's the truth, or the impossibility, at least in terms of the impossibility of getting out of that, then what are we seeing when we're talking about the impossibility of seeing or the impossibility of getting out of blindness? And since he said what is, and then he's going to say not what is, he's always going to, Derrida has always this very bookmark, I would say, relation to the what is question. You always bookmark the what is to come back to it. You never really stop there or trust it, right? Because what is always going to be the moment of a Platonic inscription that we need to pass beyond or we need to move through. It's never going to be a stopping point, right? Because if what is were a stopping point, then Platonism, that would mean Platonism would have to be true for that to be work. But because is being, is presence, right? So we started with what is, not what is, okay, but since the form of that question is produced by the very thing it questions, that's the structure I just tried to explain, right? So if we say, what is the total death of all is impossibility of is, all right, which is supposed to give us the is supposed to give us the is, we can't stay there. So then he changes what is to how is it written. So this is a fundamental, I think, this might be a cheeky or a good way. We go in Derrida from what is to how is it inscribed? How is it written? What remains of it? How does it remain as remaining rather than nothing? Okay. Does that make sense? Is that pretty lucid? But so how do we get this impossible? How's it written? How do we do it? How does it remain? Because it's presenting itself to us and we're talking about it, but the whole point is the presence of the word. So how's necessity written? How is dialectics traced? Okay. Because if Plato is still somehow present to us, this pharmacy is still somehow present to us, that's our concern in the end. That's what we're looking at. It has to be traced, has to remain. Okay. And it remains as a pharmacy, is written as a pharmacy. The destruction and the repression of the Pharmakon, the war on drugs, that is Platonism, that wants to take the Pharmakon and integrate it into a family scene and a house. So it's the house versus the international drug trade is kind of how I would frame it. Pharmacy is fine, but really I think as a figure, and it's very close to Pharmakon, so I get it as a figure. But even beyond pharmacy, I think, because Derrida says pharmacy, and when he's thinking of pharmacy, it was really easy to go to a pharmacy and go get whatever you wanted. So now we kind of think of pharmacy, and you think of the people who are like, sorry, we'll try to fill that, but computer says that actually you have to come back 10 days later. Sorry, I keep nothing I do. That's a very policed sort of thing, right? So but thinking about like the house, the oikos, the family scene of Platonism, versus something that exceeds agriculture as logos, exceeds economy as house, as managed, calculated flow of drugs, goods, etc., exceeds medical knowledge as ability to distinguish between good and bad pharmacons, exceeds, because this pharma. Okay, so I kind of no. So take back what I said earlier. He says exactly this, right? Basically, he makes exactly the argument I just explained here. So no. Derrida's not talking about further. Okay, scratch that. See, after all I said about like respect, he understands the pharmacy. So Plato's pharmacy is, we kind of actually then we can go to like three figures actually. So like let me pull up the notes. So we've got oikos. Your father makes the rules in this house. Domestic economy, and I would say whether of a nation or of a household, right? Can I speak to the head of your household? Can I speak to the man of the house, right? So that's the father sort of economy link, right? Versus pharmacy, which is really, it is I think is the best single figure here for the entirety of Platonism, which is Platonism is a pharmacy, which means it is an attempt to regulate, order, and label the disseminating meaning and effect of pharmaka, the Pharmakon, in a knowable, thinkable, sober way. So thought as ordering of Pharmakon, its disseminated meaning into because it's not like you go to a pharmacy and there are only good drugs and bad drugs. They have all kinds of stuff there, right? And it's just their use of them has to be. So in the same way, like it's not like Plato only wants Pharmakon to mean good things. Pharmakon means hemlock, right? In Socrates' death. So it's just Plato wants it to all be organized by thought, right? Into a organized, calculable, knowable formation, writing for archive. And what is the method? What is the method to turn Pharmakon into pharmacy? Well, that's dialectics.
Present is a ghost, and he is thy father's spirit. Like, comment, haunt, and subscribe.